Welcome to Another Corner. I'm your host, Rainbird. And do I have an amazing guest for honor today, man? Today I got the chance to interview the incredible Stephen Coore of Third World. Now, if you don't know who Stephen is, and worse, if you don't know who Third World is, man, are you in for an amazing treat today? So, this is just a video of who Stephen Coore is. Are you mind blown? Are you as excited as I am for this? Because I got the chance. No, no, no. Let's scratch that. I was lucky enough to get the honor to sit down and talk to this man. And we ended up talking for over an hour. And we discussed everything from the history of the band all up through his personal struggles with his mother passing away at a very pivotal moment in his musical career. And we even talked about him opening up for Bob Marley, that experience, and just how amazing it was to watch the music evolve, talking about the bands who he's keeping his eye on, and even got some good guitar tips for all of the young players out there to keep your hands healthy. So without further ado, Stephen Coore of Third World. Welcome to Another Corner. Please, sir, can you please introduce yourself because I can't do this man justice. Who is in the room?
I don't know if I can do myself justice either, but anyway, greetings and love. I'm Stephen Coore of Third World, and it's a pleasure to join him.
Yes, man, on a mid. Yes, man, Stephen Coore of Third World. Because guess what going on this weekend? We have an amazing festival going down in Atlanta, the Be Reggae Festival down in Piedmont Park. And Third World will be there headlining this event, on Sunday. That's when you guys play on Sunday?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a 3-day festival, so make sure to come on from Friday. So yes, man, we're going to be talking to the legend, man. Again, thank you again for your time and for joining us here today.
Okay, great, yeah, man.
The 50th year. This is your 50th year's anniversary of y'all's playing together.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that professionally or because I feel like there's two dates to that. There's a dates where everybody know, and there's a dates where the band was together and they were grinding before it got mainstream. So that 50 years, what that encapsulates, is that just the 50 years mainstream, or is that 50 years total that everybody been
You
together?
could say it's, you could say it's 50 years total because really, I mean, the band really from 1973, as I was telling someone recently, we were one of the first groups to approach a bank to borrow money to start a band. That was never done in those days. And, some people who the government had a progressive look on a Michael Manley. And, there was an institution called the Workers' Bank, and that bank was, I guess, the idea, regardless of how successful it was, the idea of it was to be more people friendly in terms of lending money, in terms of what kind of projects they did. And Third World approached them, and we got some funding to start the band, and that was in '73. And then we were playing, we were playing in hotels and stuff around, and we had we had a, a gig at the Flamingo Hotel on August the 6th, 1973, and that was the one in which we really, that's our benchmark gig where we started, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we had done some experimental things. We had done one and two little gigs out there, testing the waters and stuff. But August the 6th is our benchmark as to when we really started, and we went from there and we went on to play Holiday Inn. We play out in a carousel out. We used to go to Montego Bay every weekend and play.
Yeah.
And because we had the tourist attraction, we had different kind of crowds that were more suitable to what we were doing. And we were doing quite a bit of covers, but we were also doing stuff like solos, guitar solos and keyboard solos and harmonies, different kind of harmony singing, and we had a different approach to how we did our thing. So it was more suitable at that time to go on the North Coast to play for, that whole tourism product and mix it in with Jamaicans. And well, Jamaicans first, and then of course, because it's on the North Coast, you had a lot of tourists and visitors who were there. That sort of launched us into a feeling of, you know, being more than just a band that's just playing, launched us into being what we now are, which is an act. We're not really a band, we're an act. We're a professional act. We can play in Las Vegas, we can play anywhere in the world right now with what we do on stage. We do a show, we do a
Wow.
presentation, and once we got that straight in our head that that's what we wanted to do, we kind of found where we were going, and we got an opportunity to go to England, 1974, and we took the opportunity and went, and we did some amount of good work. We got a chance to open up for Bob Marley in '75, um, at the Lyceum in London, and that was another benchmark for us because that really launched us internationally. With playing in front of that crowd in London was a very good look for us in terms of that it gave us more gigs in the English area, more gigs in London, more gigs in Manchester, more gigs in Birmingham, and from there we got a record deal with Ireland, and when we got the record deal with Ireland, we really started to blossom, and that would have been the closest I think that we would have been with Bob was at that time because we had done the shows with him, and we were recording in with the same record label that he was on. But of course, at that time, Bob was out there now. Bob had gone out to California and was making big, big impact out there, playing before Sly and Family Stone and stuff. And we stayed in England and recorded our first album, Third World. So while that was happening with Bob on that side of the world, we were recording our first effort, which was Third World, the Green album. And, you know, we came home that Christmas, and we we performed with the Jackson Five, and that was another pivotal moment for us. We performed with the Jackson Five, right before we went to England. We performed with Jack. When we came home after that Bob Marley trip, we came home. We did the Stevie Wonder show at the stadium. Stevie Wonder and Bob Marley, and that was another pivotal moment for us because we really got to show Jamaicans, particularly Kingstonians, just where we were really at. Kingston people both say already, so
Yeah.
you can't go on them soft, you have to go hard.
No, they will buckle you for stage. That is no joke. That is no
Uh,
joke.
Yeah, so that
Stevie
was
Wonder and Bob Marley.
yeah, that
Our
was another
third world.
yeah, that
What
was
a
a show.
show, man.
I mean, that was a show, man. So we were, we were grateful that we really had those opportunities.
Yeah.
Realized too that the hard work and effort that we put in because we were also one of the first bands that took themselves and went to the country and locked up in a house down in St. Mary for a long time. Just honing our skills and making sure that we come good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before the Jackson 5 show we did that. And it's right around the time my mother passed away actually because my mom passed just a couple of days before the Jackson 5 show. So, it was like that whole Jackson 5 thing was a very pivotal time for me because it's also a time when I really decided that this is what I wanted to do and there was no turning back.
Yeah.
So there was no halfway here. It was the full 100.
Man.
So, after that, we got the chance to go to England and then went through the whole thing with opening for Bob, then getting the record contract, then coming back. Then we had the Stevie Wonder show. Then after that, we went out to California because the record company felt that California was a great place. Reggae was breaking out there.
Yeah.
And Toots had been there, Bob had been there, and it sort of, to them, it felt like that was the thing that the band should do. So we packed up the band and we went out to San Francisco. We lived out in Berkeley, California. And we did quite a few gigs up in that area, up in Chico, up in San Francisco, all through those places. And eventually we got down to LA. And that for me was a revelation because I'd never been really in a place like LA where everything was geared towards entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so cool for us to go down there and play and perform and start to make a name down there too. Reggae took a little longer time to really hit down in the LA area, but I think between LA and San Diego it became really big after that. And we stayed out there for a while, and then after that now we went back to Jamaica and we started to work on 96 Degrees in the Shade, which we finished in England and Um, just coincidentally, Bob was recording Exodus at that time.
Huh.
And we were on the same label. So we used to go into the studio like 10 in the morning, finish at 3, Bob would come in at 3, or vice versa. Bob would come in at 10 and we would come in at 3, depending on what was the situation, who it suited more. If it suited Bob more to come in early, we would just adjust and make it happen. And more time if it suited us, Bob would just say, all right, I'll take the early shift and, you know. So there
Yeah.
was good vibrations and met a lot of good people, met a lot of very, very good people, a lot of very, very good musicians, particularly African musicians
Yeah.
who were living in England and performing in England at the time. And they were just kind of mesmerized by this whole Bob Marley thing that was happening.
Yeah.
And it was really beginning to get big now. Bob and the Wailers were beginning to get massive here now. So
Yeah.
it was another very pivotal moment for us. And we actually finished the album 96 Degrees there in London, and it came out sometime after. But when it came out, it and I say it was slow out of the box. People liked it and everything, and it was all right in terms of like how it was doing. It was doing all right, but what we did was we put that music from 96 Degrees and we created a show called Explantations. We created that in Jamaica. We came back to Jamaica with the 96 Degrees album and we created Explantations with it. And that was another pivotal moment because we were the first band to ever do anything like that, a theatrical presentation with the band playing music.
Wow.
Yeah, so and we played the parts. We played all the parts. So all of us had to, and we took 2 weeks and did that, 2 weeks.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so we worked every day from 10 to 6 o'clock and then from 7 to 9 o'clock. And we had to study the lines, we had to learn how to act, we had to learn dancing, we had to learn, we had to learn what it was to be in a Broadway show, really. We, had
Yeah.
to, we took 2 weeks and learned what it was to be in a Broadway show. And two people I really want to thank and give a footnote to is Fred Hicklin and Tommy Pinnock. They were the ones who were instrumental in helping us to really make that happen.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Fred wrote the script, and Tommy Pinnock was the designer of everything and the director, the production director, and it was a first. It was a first. We did it at the Little Theatre in Kingston, and it was a first for anything like that to happen. Nobody had ever done anything like that. So, we're very proud of ourselves that we're actually able to bring that off.
Well, sir, if you don't mind, can you please comment a little bit? Because I feel like that what you just said cannot be an understated point. Because people have to remember the backdrop of Kingston during that time. That this was right after the Coral Gardens, a couple years after that. So for a Rastafari group to put on a performance like this at the Little Theatre in Jamaica is not a small feat.
No, I
You
don't
know.
think it's a small feat, but the thing about it is that you have to realize that by that time, things were beginning to change dramatically in terms of how people were progressing, in terms of of their thinking, and the whole thing that Bob Marley was becoming a big superstar, and people in Jamaica just were really beginning to catch on to that. But I think Third World influenced a lot of uptowners to become Rasta.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Third World played a very pivotal role there, and due to that, it it is it's a natural thing, really, in my opinion. It's a natural force of nature, really. You could put it that way. That what we were doing, the expressions that we were expressing, and the kind of reaction that we were getting from people because we were playing music as well as doing all of this. Our theatrical presentations were of a very high level for that time. And because of that, we really took off. I mean, in a certain sphere, and we I got a brethren came down from Seattle and said he was very interested in the band. He had heard about the band and so on. He was very interested in getting involved with the Jamaican act. And he'd heard that we were the one, and he came. And eventually ended up being our manager. And we had a we had a we had the opportunity to start our third album. And this is a very big part of the whole thing here now. We got the opportunity to start our third album, and it was Ulysses Lewis, our manager, who said he thought it would be good for us to go to Nassau because Chris Blackwell had just built a studio in Nassau, and he thought it would be good for us to go and record there. And of course, we packed up the band, went to Nassau, and that was where we recorded "Now That We Found Love." So that really launched us internationally. The song really gave us a whole new career. But I want to just say that at the time, the members of the band was myself, Iwu Cooper, Richard Daly, Willie Stewart, Bonnie Ruggs, and Carrot. But just to quickly backtrack a little bit, the band was actually formed by myself, a brethren by the name of Colin Leslie, Carl Barovia, um, Iwu Cooper was there, Richie Daly came along not so much in the very first lineup, but because Colin Leslie was actually playing bass, but Colin moved on to study accounting, and so we needed a permanent person who would play, that role, and so that's how Richard Daly came in, and then Carl left the group to go and pursue a job at the tourist board, and Cornell Marshall came in, and that prevailed right through the first album. And then we had two changes. Cornell left and Willie came, and Prilly left and Bonnie Ruggs came. So it was another pivotal moment. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
that's,
significant lineup change.
yeah, and that lineup prevailed right up until, to get back to the story now, that lineup prevailed right up until we did Know That We Found Love. So we did Know That We Found Love now. We got number 4, number something on the British chart. So we were very high, like in the top, easily in the top 10. And we had big stuff happen for us. You know, we did Hammersmith Odeon. We did some nice big shows in England. 'Cause we were getting big, and we went all through Europe. Amsterdam was one of our first places. Paris was very big, and we just kept moving really in the right direction, and we kept playing to more and more people, and right after that we had a deal with Island where we were due X amount of records, so we had to go back and get ready to do another album. We went out to Los Angeles and did that one. And in fact, when we were out there, we were recording in a studio, and Stevie Wonder was recording in the same studio. So we would have actually met him at that time, and he he was he was very encouraging at the time, although we didn't get to spend much time with him. But while we were in the studio, maybe we go there and he was just leaving. I remember him saying that Third World, you're on the one. He was talking. He was talking about the first beat, and at the time, reggae is still on 2 and 4, but that's a musical discussion anyway.
No,
But
no, we need to
we're
have that discussion because,
on the one. We
yeah,
were on the one. Right? We were on the one. So, and we were on the 2 and 4 too. We had different styles of songs that we played.
yeah,
Yeah, but that was a great time for us, and we did the album "The Story's Been Told," and that album had "Talk to Me" on it, which was a decent single in America, but I don't think it particularly did very well in Europe. And I think the band really maybe had gotten a little too into the fusion thing. I think we sort of maybe didn't have as much support for that album as we had for the other one in the Europe market. But we were still doing very well in the Europe market because that album was so good, so big over there that we had we had we had years of we had years of invested listenership. Let me put it that way. Yeah, so and then of course after that we had a live album, and then we had a Rise in Harmony, and all of which were just kind of medium grade in terms of, well, the live album did very well in Europe, I have to say that. But a Rise in Harmony and the Story's Been Told, we didn't do the kind of numbers that we had wanted to do. And we eventually broke away from Island Records. We didn't think we were getting the kind of support. And we were offered up a deal with CBS, which was the biggest record company at the time in the world. And we really couldn't refuse that. We were offered a deal we were offered a deal in CBS England first, and we did an album, and we had a song called "Dancing on the Floor," which went high on the British charts too. And after that record, we were approached by CBS America to just sign with them worldwide, and so we did that. And then after that, of course, we had Tragedy Love album, and we had Sense of Purpose, and you know, Committed. Uh, um, and then we signed with Polygram. When we left CBS and signed with Polygram, we had Serious Business. Oh, Serious Business, Committed. We had those two records. It's not the memory not so great, but yeah. But after we left, after we kind of broke away from Polygram or from Mercury, we kind of did some solo. We didn't sign on another record company. We just kind of we signed with Shanachie, but Shanachie was after a portion of time. But I think we should note that the CBS, when we signed with Polygram with Mercury, was when we had the album with Reggae Ambassador and Forbidden Love. It was a big album for us.
Yeah, that was a huge album.
Yeah, So I think that's very much, we should take note of that. And also Committed album was good too, because we had Committed, which was a good strong song, and was a strong hit on radio and everything. But I mean, that's kind of like, a little synopsis of how the band really, what we did, and how we were able to sort of transcend the regular kind of thing that Jamaicans were doing and be inspirational to groups, because even though Inner Circle was around before Third World, because I was in Inner Circle before Third World, but I think the way we were very, very kind of ambitious and creative, I think it even influenced Inner Circle, because shortly after that, they started coming out with their own material, and they had Jacob Miller as a frontman who was just magic, So, yeah, so I think even though they would have been around before we started, that we really influenced a lot of bands to really do that. Chalice, we influenced them too, to really break out and become. It's not just a solo singer out there or a solo singer where two other guys are, it's a situation where the whole band was, we were all stars in our own way.
Yeah, and that right there is a question I want to ask you about. Like, why is it? What do you think caused reggae music to depart from what you and your band created, which was the very first time where we had like basically a super group with a bunch of virtuoso players who, I mean, because I think about that song Feel a Little Better Now,
Yeah,
and your guitar solo on that track is unbelievable,
yeah,
right? And I would easily rank you up there, easily in the top 5 guitar players from Jamaica of all time. You, Ernest Ranglin, my brother from Soul Syndicate,
Chino,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, just up there, as the ultimate legends, and anybody can question that, right? Just listen to that album. But why do you think that reggae?
I think that Jamaica is kind of straight off of that. I think a lot of energy happened in terms of people being selfish and wanting to be the star of the show. And therefore, a lot of bands lost their singers. Their singers broke away Well, it's very unfortunate that the great man Jacob died because, quite frankly, I think he would have stayed in Inner Circle till this day. But even if you look at their journey, you'll see whereby Carlton Coffee joined the group and then he broke away from the group as well and was trying to do his own thing, which to no avail. I mean, right now you can't compete with Inner Circle as a single solo man. You just come on and you don't have anything really before more than so. I mean, and I'm not saying anything negative against Carlton, really. He's a good friend, but I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure that was, I'm not sure I have all the chronology right as to what really, but at the same time, I don't think it was a beneficial step for him. And it leads back to what we're talking about with people breaking away from bands to do their own thing. Not only lead singers, but you have other people break away from bands too, You have keyboard players break away. You have drum couplers break away from Fabulous Five.
Yeah.
Is that. I mean, if you had told me a year ago that Grub Cooper would break from Fabulous Five, I told you you're chatting total rubbish. I mean, look how many years Grub has invested with Fabulous Five. And for this stage now to break away, I can't. Even if you want to, you can do your own thing and still maintain the group. You don't have to, AJ Brown has his own solo album right now, but he's still a part of Third World. Cat Core has a solo album, but he's still a part of Third World.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think the answer to your question really is. That you don't have to just be, well, I use the word selfish, which might be a little bit harsh, but that's basically what it comes down to. You're only looking out for your actions and for what you want to do, but you're not looking at the wider picture, which is five or six other people who are playing with you and who rely on you every day to make food, number one, and number two, to make music, or put it the other way around, to make music, which in turn will give you the food as long as you are honest and respectful to the music and give it your best shot. So, that is I think a good way to answer your question. But you and I know we could sit down and talk on that point alone and it could go on for minutes and minutes and minutes and hours because it's a strong point in the whole history and the whole journey in which we have all, you yourself included, your sister in there, and everybody. It's been a journey for us because we have embraced the music and we have really tried to project the music. So the journey it's been very important. The question is important to all of us,
No,
as to
absolutely.
as music shifted, that way. Now you hear about Taras Riley, you hear about, I Win, you hear about, Chronics, you hear about this and that and that, and you rarely know who the musicians are. In fact, sometimes the musicians change all two, three times and you don't even know.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like that right there has been a loss for the music overall. It's the fact that I feel like people have lost that musicality that you and your group and that generation of like musicians, the bands that you just listed,
yeah,
what they brought and what they added to the culture and to the music itself and how far they pushed it. They made it cool. Because as a little kid, I always wanted to play a guitar, right? And
yeah,
I feel like your band made it cool to be rock stars, as a
yeah.
black kid from Jamaica to pick up a guitar, like, that was inspirational. That was very inspirational.
Well, it was what everybody in my neighborhood was doing, and that was the I have to mention that people like Wayne Harman and Paul Drisdale and them man, they were instrumental in helping me to get my start because when I see them man they walk up the road and them have a guitar, I say, "What? Man have a guitar?" I said, no, I said, I was on TV, I said that I remember go to movies, and I said, man, I play electric guitar. I said, what? Someone I walk on Barbican Road with electric guitar. I
Man.
said, no. You know, and right now, I mean, that's man have electric guitar thrown down in them house and it just a get pure dust. It just a
Does.
pure dust. So yeah, so I mean
Yeah.
that was very inspirational to me as a kid. So, it was very inspiring also. And then we start focus on someone like Jimi Hendrix and Santana and all kind of man there. And I wanted to be one of those just from a Jamaican perspective.
Oh, absolutely. No, no, no. You
Yeah,
are in those realms. Like that is not even a question. That is not even a question. No, no.
Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah. So that was
those were your biggest influences at that time. You were listening to people like who were you listening to?
yeah, yeah. I was really getting. I had two spheres of big influence. One was like the stylistic, the Delphonics, the Shylights, them kind of things. There was one style. I used to love that ballad music and the harmonies and stuff. And the other side of the coin was Hendrix, Santana, Chicago, Blood, Sweat and Tears. That was the other side of the coin. So it was like it was a rounded musical
Yeah,
journey. Rounded musical journey because on the other side now you have Bob Marley,
yeah.
right? So when I would have heard Concrete Jungle, that would have been something that really influenced me too because it's the first I'm hearing reggae with rock guitar. And it really, I mean, maybe there was regular rock guitar before, but Concrete Jungle is the cow with the feather on its neck,
Oh, for
you know?
sure, for sure. That song, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that is the one who would have launched enough man to play reggae music and thing. And all now I hear some man I try to play that solo and can't play it. And
Yeah.
I used to play that solo every time we play. We used to play Concrete Jungle. I made sure I work hard and learn that solo because that was the benchmark at the time. You see?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dude, I think Feel a Little Better is the benchmark, man. Like that solo to me. Oh my gosh, man.
yeah. It's a nice run at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
Yep.
nice,
Yep.
nice run. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I played the harmony to the run.
Oh
That was it.
wow.
That run. I played the run and then I harmonized it.
That
So
is
that was
wild.
yeah, that was cool.
No,
That was
that's amazing, man. That's amazing.
yeah, that was a good time for me. That was a great time for me.
Do you see any young groups coming up that you really find interesting nowadays?
Raging Fire I really like.
Oh
I really
yes, they got
I
raging
like
fire.
I like Kumar a lot.
Yes,
and
man.
and what he's doing, and he's putting back the fire together, in a way that I think is very positive, and I really like the vibe that they're coming with now. I really like it, and I got to explore a bit of their music because I didn't really know them much. They had a little breakup.
Yeah.
So, but I started to get close to Kumar, and I started to hear some of his stuff. So I really started to look into everything that they did and stuff. And yeah, man, they were, and I'm really hoping that they put back what they can put back together because it's very positive and we need more of that right now. We don't really have much of that.
No,
In fact,
absolutely.
when the white man them from out of California come with them bands and gone with the little thing where yeah, sight is stupid.
Yeah.
And yeah, and soul jazz and all the man, them a do the right thing, man. Them a do the right thing. Them have them band together and stuff and them and even them interacted. Look at what happened to Big Mountain. Kino left for a long time and was trying to do his own solo thing until he realized I know and he had to come sing a song and come back and yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know
So I
what,
really,
my brother, I am proud to say that our generation, not on our watch, not on our watch, because there's
no,
some good bands coming up now, but that really bringing back that vibe and just really stepping up and just taking the mantle because reggae is our culture, you know, it's our birthright, and the sacrifice is what you, the pioneers, did for laid for we. Yeah, man, we'll have to bring it for sure.
yeah, it's kind of in a way to like Damien and Shire.
Yeah,
A lot of people know that Damien and Shire grew up together from they were young. From they were young, they grew up together. They had a band called the Shepherds. So, I mean, when you look at it now and you see Damien playing and you see Shire playing for him, it sort of have that feel to it. You understand? Like, it's the two brethren here who've been together for a long time. It kind of have that vibe and very positive.
yeah,
Rather than Damien just come out and you don't even too know who is playing or who is whatever. Sometimes when you can pick a person out in the band and say, cat's on there, you know,
yeah,
that, that's very positive.
yeah.
It's very positive. Yeah. So, you know, I agree. I hope that, you know, some more of those kids that coming out of the school of music, that they gravitate towards farming bands, because I miss it myself too, you know? Yeah, I miss it. All right, well, we just want to say right now, Third World is going to be on at 7:30, but I understand there's going to be an all-female band on before, and that is just inspiring. So, you know, the real reggae girls.
Yes,
Yes, I.
and
And
shout out
shout
to
out
the
to
other
the other
reggae
reggae
girls
girls
too, the
too, the
reggae
reggae
girls
Shout
who.
girls
out to
too,
the
the
reggae
reggae
girls
girls
with
with
them
them.
Oh
Oh
my
my
performance.
God,
God,
what a
what a
performance,
performance,
man!
man!
Unbelievable, man. And just the way them go about them thing, man. They really, it's what an inspiration they were to
My
everybody,
God,
man.
oh my
All
God.
down in Jamaica, there's that one person on the road don't have a Jamaican flag or everybody. I mean, widespread praise.
And for
And for
knock out
knock
a
out a
team like
team like
Brazil.
Brazil.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God.
And, uh, and
Man, I
Man,
tell
I
you,
tell you,
I've
I've
never been
never
so
been so
proud, man.
proud,
I'm
man.
so
I'm so
proud of
proud
them.
of them.
Big up
Big up
yourself,
yourself,
reggae
reggae
girls. Big
girls.
up
Big up
yourselves.
yourselves.
And I want to say something.
yes.
And I want to say something from the sidelines. It's very, Cat's giving up a lot to come to Atlanta this weekend to be on the Be Reggae, and he's all supportive of all the initiatives that Be Reggae is a part of. But he really wants to be in Fort Lauderdale to watch the West Indies play India in cricket.
Yes, man. I shout out to the West Indies cricket team, man. How you mean?
Yeah, and they're beginning to play well. So that's
Yeah.
the most important thing. They've had a rough time over the past few years, but they're coming on.
Yes,
They're
man.
coming on. Nice to see the progress, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Man, thank you again. Oh, I had one question. This is just for musicians as well. Um, you playing at your level, the style that you play, how any tips on maintaining your hands so that you're able to continue playing this? Because I mean, especially somebody who is on tour night after night for years, playing as hard and as aggressive as you have. Like,
Well, I think that right now, when you're on tour night after night and you're playing, you actually get better and better and better. And what I found, which I was a little bit disappointed in myself for this, is that with the advent of COVID, I became very despondent. And because I wasn't playing a lot and I didn't practice as much as I should have practiced through COVID. And then when COVID time came now to go back now to perform, I found that I really didn't have, you know, the muscle memory wasn't there, and I had to go back and work and work and work. to try and make sure, you know, that we have something there. And that to me, you know. But to keep the strength in your hands, you have some very simple things you can do. Even just squeezing a tennis ball with the hand to play with, just squeeze it because the ball, all the fingers wrap around it like that, and you squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. It gives you strength all here, and so on. And that's a good thing for young people who want to keep their hands strong. And you can buy the actual guitar. It's a little guitar, and you hold it in your hand and squeeze it. You can get that too.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
All
But
right.
just keep your hands as strong as you can.
Yes, man. So there you have it. Some really, really good tips to all of your guitarists out there from the legend himself, Stephen Cat Coore. Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again for your
All right,
time,
Brent.
man. I want to look
All
forward
right,
to
God
seeing
bless.
you. 7:30.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll see you on Sunday.
yes, man. Definitely, brother. Definitely.
All right, God bless.
All right. God bless, man. One love.
Yeah, cool.